History beckons this weekend as Rich Swann takes on Kenny Omega, both titles, Impact and AEW World Championship on the line. But who's going to walk out with everything? We're going to discuss this one more time. Is there any way Swann can walk away with all the gold? Stay tuned. This is WrstlXtra.
Yo, folks, this is WrstlXtra. You are watching on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel, and of course, you are listening on AffinityExtra.com. I'm here, A-Dazzle, with my boy Mex, as always, live and in color.
Yes.
So, the big one this weekend is Impact Rebellion, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And we have the Impact, the undisputed Impact World Champion, Rich Swann, against the god, apparently, of wrestling, who is the AEW World Champion, Kenny Omega. Title versus title, winner takes all. Who wins? But the other question is, who cares?
Good question.
That's the real question, bro. I know we're going to talk about the outcomes and all the rest of it. But for me, my thing is this. Does AEW even care? They've not pushed it. We've known about this match since mid-March after Rich Swann defeated Moose. We knew that the winner of that match was going to face Kenny Omega at Rebellion. And, you know, that's been, 4-5 weeks? And next to no push on AEW as far as I'm aware. I've heard apparently that Kenny Omega has tweeted about it a few times, and that's probably where you'll find most of the push and whatever else. Bro, listen, here's the joke. There's more hype about Mauro Ranallo being a commentator than the match itself.
Yep.
What is going on?
Big up Mauro. Good to see him back in wrestling.
For sure.
Be it for one night or for one match on the card. But
yeah.
It is a very, very weird one. I mean, yes, it is an Impact pay-per-view, so I expect Impact to be doing the majority of the legwork.
Of course.
But it does beg the question of what is this relationship between AEW and Impact, because AEW are on their shows every week promoting their show the next night. Can't they even just something that says that your champion is put, like, shouldn't it be alarm bells even in AEW that your champion is putting his title on the line and it may not come back to this show? Like, there is that possibility. They're treating this very much, AEW are treating this like this is like a house show match. Like it's an exhibition match with nothing at stake. This is, definitely a very, very big match. Even, how are they going to justify, and we've spoken about this before, how are they going to justify if Omega turns up next week on AEW Dynamite with the Impact World Championship? Because in that universe, we've never known about this match.
Right. Exactly that.
Same way that, we said before when Moxley just turned up to Dynamite with the New Japan United States Championship.
Right.
Kenta just turned up and everyone was expecting to know who he was.
Nothing.
No backstory. This is exactly it. So it's weird. Like, is he going to turn up on Dynamite with their title? Like, it is very, very weird. It just makes me think, what is this relationship actually about?
For me, it almost feels like AEW are trying to, in a very, very weird way, in a way that doesn't really sit well, that they're trying to show that they're bigwigs. So in a sense where, they've always got their little, the paid advertise segment on Impact, which is very entertaining. It has been, and probably one of the best segment on Impact for however many weeks they've been doing it. You know, you've got Kenny Omega coming, you know, turning up every you know, not every week, but when he turns up, you know, it's a big thing. They make something of it, or the rest of it. Impact and Tony Khan being big about, sorry, not Impact, AEW and Tony Khan being big about this whole ownership of this forbidden door, and they're controlling the forbidden door and whatever. But yet, no mention, no appearance from Rich Swann whatsoever, not even on the screen, not even in a promo. I've not seen no promo on the shows, but yet you're boosting Paul White signing up to AEW. You're boosting Christian Cage. Yeah, we can make a big deal of both of them. Of course we can. You know, they've got, you know, they've got reputations and all the rest of it. You know, you make a thing about when Kenta showed up as well, but yet the Impact World Champion, who could possibly, I don't care how kayfabe, I don't care how predetermined it is, could possibly beat your world champion, and you make no mention of it whatsoever. And even as you said as well, like, even, you know, we're expecting Kenny Omega to win. How does Kenny Omega turn up with a second belt on over his shoulders? Basically a third belt, because I'm sure he's turned up at least once with his AAA championship as well, which hasn't happened every single week either, which is weird in itself.
Yeah.
What is this? What is it? I don't understand. I don't see the point. That whole Forbidden Door thing gone out the window. It's done with. It's died. They killed it themselves. And I'm just like, you know, I don't know who's invested in the match. I don't know how many people are. But they've not given us, and even Impact have struggled as well, because even on Impact itself, you're not seeing much interaction. I think we had last week an interaction with Don Callis and Rich Swann, or was that 2 weeks ago? Something like that.
They had a press conference last week, didn't they?
I think so. I believe so. But it's kind of all this very watered down type of interaction. It's not, you know, the last thing on your show. It's not anything to do with the main event. Not even, you know, give me Carl Anderson versus Rich Swann or something again. Like, I know I've done that once, but you know, give me something like that, or Luke Gallows versus Rich Swann, and just give me something. And I remember when we talked about this before, and we were, you know, kind of talking about whether it should be Rich Swann or Moose. And right now, I'm so glad it's not Moose, because that would have been the absolute death of
murder.
A guy who has, you know, done so much in this year to kind of elevate himself as, you know, as a wrestler and stuff like that. And we could talk about even how Moose hasn't been used on Impact for a good few weeks, which is weird. But I'm glad it's not him, because, like I said, it just would have been a waste of his time. I just don't get any of it. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's very, very confusing. Even like you said, the Mega Championship, we just see it. Like, he tends to bring that to Dynamite when he's got matches against Rey Fenix, who he beat for the Mega Championship. So let's
only bring out the Mexican Championship when you're facing a Mexican. What?
It sounds wild when you put it like that.
Jeez,
it literally sounds very wild when you put it like that. But yeah, it's just, you know, and then what happens from here? Because like you say, we assume that Rich Swann drops the title. Rich Swann, that hasn't been featured on Dynamite. Even other Impact people, I believe, have, especially Gallows and Anderson, have been on AEW repeatedly.
I believe it is only them two that actually have shown up. I know we had the thing with Private Party go in between, but obviously they're AEW wrestlers. And I think it literally is on Gallows and Anderson, who have gone from Impact and shown up on AEW.
Yeah, I mean, we can throw in Don Callis, but he's not an in-ring competitor. Ethan Page, he left Impact and joined AEW, so it's different. So yeah, like the guy that this guy's facing, it's like, even if he loses his title, how does he now come to Dynamite to retrieve it? You never showed up here in the first place. Like, it is so weird the way this is being told.
Yeah.
But, I don't know what plan they have here. Like maybe no title is changing hands at the end of the night, and I don't know how to get out of that one.
I wouldn't be surprised at that either. I would not be surprised at that either.
It'll be weird to see how they're gonna get out of it because it's a title versus title match. So I just don't know.
Again, going back to the whole, Forbidden Door story, or the possibilities that we were maybe expecting or wanted to see. You could have done the simplest of things with all the different wrestlers that you have shown on, indie wrestlers, on non-contracted wrestlers that you've shown on Elevation and on Dark.
Yeah,
easily could have thrown in, Trey Miguel versus Phoenix, Chris Bay versus Scorpio Sky. I mean, like things like that, even down to those simple things. Deonna Purrazzo turns up with the Impact Women's Championship, and like, where is that? Why has that not happened? And it's not simply a case of schedules and traveling, because we've seen, as I said, all these indie wrestlers that are not based in Florida. They're not based in Jacksonville. They're based all over the US. Some outside of the US.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand the logic of any of this at all.
In regard to the Forbidden Door, I think where they want to do it, or where they got hype and everyone else hype about it, I think now they've realized their roster is quite big. And obviously the Forbidden Door would only really be used for televised stuff. They're not really gonna start Forbidden Door stuff on YouTube, on their YouTube shows.
Yeah, very true. Very
lucrative. So they've only got 2 hours of TV currently, and they can't fit the majority of their roster into that, and Forbidden Door people, or people coming through the Forbidden Door from other companies. So maybe once they have another hour or two of TV, then they can implement more Forbidden Door stuff. But right now it's like they've kind of blown their load in terms of, we're having this Forbidden Door stuff, but really and truly nothing has happened
at the same time now. But at the same time, my argument is also and this is something I wanted to mention as well, but I don't want to do this whole I've been doing it since Elevation started, but this whole what's the point, Elevation and Dark. But I also noticed even just last week that there were certain wrestlers and indie wrestlers, non-contracted to AEW, that were on, if not all 3, at least 2 shows, including Dynamite. So it's not like you've got too many wrestlers in the sense where, you have to use everyone, because you're still repeatedly using the same people.
Yeah.
So as much as some of these indie wrestlers would then be on Dynamite in a squash match, that time could have been used for someone from Impact, someone from New Japan, whatever it is, whatever they can sort out. It brings more eyes to the show as well during that segment, because don't no one care about Lance Archer squashing some random wrestler that you don't know.
Yeah, local talent.
So I'm going to try my best to just not slay AEW. I'm wearing a shirt, it's Sting, but I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try my best just to not slay AEW. But at the same time, moving into the next topic, actually, at the same time, we have issues with the booking of AEW. We've noticed that since Mania, WWE are struggling as well. Like, what is going on this week, bro? I look as bad as wrestling has been this week. Like, I feel a mess, and wrestling has just been an absolute mess since WrestleMania. The first Raw since Mania was just
weak,
mediocre as mediocre gets, and not even mediocre for a Mania after Raw, just mediocre for Raw in general.
Yeah.
I always knew it wasn't going to be great, because you're going back to no fans, and at the end of the day, 80% of the hype when it comes to Raw after Mania is the fans and how they react, and you're getting those hardcore fans that have paid their big money to come and see Mania, then go on to see Raw.
It's the fans. So, like you said, it's the fans, and it's usually what we've come to know as the call-ups or the debuts.
True.
I think a lot of insiders, journalists, and stuff had kind of reported from very early that don't expect no debuts or call-ups after Mania, obviously because of COVID. With NXT has been the roster that has been kind of hit the hardest in terms of COVID on a consistent basis. So they're not going to mix any of them with, the main roster guys.
That's true. That's true.
And just generally, what has now become April 15th, Black Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or whatever, it's like they need to get people off their books rather than bring people in. So we saw a returning Ivar from Viking Raiders.
Yeah.
That's about it.
That's literally it.
That was it. So
that is literally it. And when we were talking about, what we were going to talk about today, you mentioned so much stars and new champions who, even after 2 weeks, have not shown up at all since Mania. So you've got AJ Styles and Omos. There was no Big E on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Who else hasn't turned up?
Well, Sheamus turned up this week, but he didn't turn up last week.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley turned up last week, but he didn't turn up this week. I don't really know what this is all about, to be honest.
I don't know if Mania has set too high of an expectation, because when I think about it, we weren't overly excited about Mania itself. I guess we kind of had an idea that the wrestlers would perform well.
Yeah.
But in terms of the build up to Mania, in terms of the storyline, in terms of the booking, none of it was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be absolutely amazing, or they've done an amazing job of booking this and all the rest of it. Luckily for us, we just saw wrestlers that turned up on the night.
Yeah.
So I guess we can't be too surprised by any of it, but the question remains, like, what is going on? I feel as though they booked Mania and then just didn't know what to do afterwards. And I don't get why.
That's always the case, though. They book everything and then that's it. They, on a week by week basis. It was said before on Monday that I think their call time to get to the show and start their planning before the show goes live at 5 p.m. in the US, they get to work by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They said that Vince McMahon never showed up till about 4 o'clock. So he was late to work, and then he didn't like anything on this week's show and ripped it all up and started again 1 hour before you're meant to go live. How do you work like this? How can you work like this? They had advertised since the weekend Braun Strowman versus Randy Orton.
Yep.
Just scrapped it completely. Like, it's like people would have maybe tuned in to see, oh, okay, Braun Strowman, Randy Orton, first time ever match, because you advertised it as that. These two have never matched before. And then all of a sudden they tune in. No, they haven't. And first time they tune in, they're not getting that. But you've been telling us since Friday, this is what we're getting.
And yet, the person that they throw in then wins the match.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's I struggle, man. I struggle big time. Let's look at some of the things one of the things that did happen on Raw. That was the unmasking of Retribution. Again, a very underwhelming topic. Let's be very real about it. We know exactly who they are. We know exactly who they were however many months ago and all the rest of it. We had this weird type of breakup, or, getting rid of Ali as the leader, who Ali was the one who gave Retribution a lifeline in terms of, in terms of them being relevant. But yet you get rid of him. Then you just got the other guys that are just there. And then, Dijakovic and Brennan Williams, known as T-Bar and Mace, are now unmasked. Thank God for that, for them.
Yeah.
For them. But then at the same time, in terms of them being used, in terms of being wrestlers, I don't know if it even makes any difference for them. I'm sure you've seen the reactions on Twitter and social media. How have other fans and whatnot reacted to all of this?
It's the same thing. It's everyone's happy that these guys have at least got their identities back.
You know my name?
Yeah, literally. So, you know, I was messing up with my review this morning. I was saying, oh my God, it's Dio Madden. It's Dominic Dijakovic. Who would have thought? But yeah, you know, I think that's about it. It looks like they're going to pair those two together, which I think is a good move for now. Maybe they're trying to reinvigorate the tag division because they've had Ivar and Eric beat Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin 2 weeks in a row now. So maybe they're planning something for the tag division. And those are two big guys. Dominic Dijakovic, obviously very experienced. He can kind of coach Dio Madden through, you know, his first real year in wrestling. But yeah, it's the question is, are they going to get their names back now? Are they going to keep the masks off? Are they going to be packaged as a tag team away from the Retribution packaging they have now? We'll see how much they really care. And these are all the questions that people are kind of asking themselves right now. But I think for now, let's go with it.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. For those that probably didn't even know, they've been a tag team before. So in the NXT days, before Dijakovic was called up to NXT TV, the two of them were actually a tag team. And they were doing impressive stuff, to be honest, at you know, the house shows and stuff like that. So we're talking at least maybe 3 years ago, 3 years ago now.
They have good chemistry anyway. Now you can see that you've got good chemistry.
Yeah. And I think the partnership works in terms of how they look. They're both very big guys, but yet, you know, can move, agility, all the rest of it, speed. We know how good Dijakovic is already. We've seen the matches with Keith Lee. You know, we're yet to see the real talent of Dio Madden / Mace / Brennan Williams / whatever else he's been called. But we know that, you know, there's good promise there. So for me, cool. Let's go with it. But I'm just scared now that we're gonna get a type of Bludgeon Brothers type of situation where you repackage them, but yet it doesn't quite work, and there was no point in changing anything. So keep with the Retribution thing.
Yeah,
maybe give them their names back, but the look, the whole ethos, even, you know, their whole plan as to what they're here for. Yeah, let's keep all of that. That's fine, not a problem. But let's focus on them being a tag team and not just, you know, hired help of MVP, basically. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. They're kind of being used as the hired help.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah, I want to see them enter the tag division. They got them, the Viking Raiders, Cedric, Shelton, New Day. So they got a bit of a division that they can mess around with and do some stuff. So. And of course, the champions.
Of course, you do have something. The weirdest thing is that the champions are the ones that are probably the least tag team that there is. Because you still also got Elias and Jackson Riker who've been doing their thing for a few months together now. So they've got their little chemistry going on as well. So, you know, there's something to work with. But again, this is tag team wrestling in WWE. Doesn't last long. It's never anything to really get excited about, or it's very short-lived.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if something does happen. So I don't know. Let's move on and let's go back to AEW. We saw the matches that we saw. We could talk about our Jade Cargill and Red Velvet. And also as well, we finally saw the in-ring debut of the governor, Anthony Ogogo. Let's talk about Ogogo first. Of course, he is a Olympic bronze medalist boxer. I can't remember what weight he was. I think it was middleweight. I believe it was middleweight, something like that. Obviously, part of the factory. I like the little faction. I like the look of them. I like that it's like a faction with promise, not necessarily, you know, established guys and all that kind of stuff. They're a faction of promise, which is nice. It seems as though, as much as QT Marshall is like the leader, Ogogo is like the main star.
The main man, yeah.
Ogogo is the main man. I'm sure of the lot, he is actually he's definitely the least experienced of the lot as well. But at the same time, his personality exceeds the rest of them, which is great to see. He only started wrestling, I think, started training about 2 years, no more than 3 years ago. So to see where he is great. how did you see his match, and what did it tell you about possibly what they could do with him?
So, like you said, his personality really big compared to the other guys. They are very much pushing the fact this guy is an ex-Olympian.
Yep.
Ex-boxer and all of that kind of stuff. Telling us how he got into wrestling in terms of he had the injury to his eye, blind in one eye. So,
yep.
That's what made him cross over. As for his match, it was a squash, obviously, against whoever they put in front of him. I can't remember, but
a guy that was on Dark the night before. But anyway, carry on.
So yeah, it didn't last long at all. But the finish was a gut punch. Punched this guy straight in his stomach. The guy was just down, couldn't get up, which I thought was pretty cool.
Something different, which is nice.
Something different. I think now some may call this corny. It might be a step too far, but I think if you punched him straight in the gut, maybe to sell it even more, the guy could have vomited or something, or fake vomit or something.
Okay.
Because I just think you punch someone in the gut, like that's not necessarily a stoppage. He might be winded. He may take long to come up, but it's not a knockout punch. So yeah, the guy was moving. He was squirming around. But if he vomited or something, then it's like, okay, this guy has to. We have to call this off. You see what I mean? So, like I say, some may deem it corny or whatever, but I think that might have done a bit more in terms of making him a bit more like rough around, like this
rough around the edges type. Obviously, we'll call him the governor, and we're doing this very English, almost Peaky Blinderish type of thing, which is not bad. It's current. It's what's going on. It's a little stereotypical for me, but at the same time, it's working. It does a job, and at the end of the day, Ogogo has that strong, accent as well. So the Americans hear it. That's what they're gonna think. That's what they're gonna think. So that's fine. It's all good. In terms of the gut punch, I mean, to be fair, I've seen, and it's very, very rare that this happens, but I have seen boxing matches that have ended because someone's been winded, and it does them enough to where. But it is a very rare thing, at the same time. So I get what you're saying as well. With them, probably should have played it up a little bit more, in some way. But at the same time, if this is who he is, he's a boxer. He's not got like a, some out of this world wrestling move. At least we're focusing on the fact that he's a boxer and not necessarily a boxer turned wrestler, if that makes sense. He's a boxer that's now wrestling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's interesting to see what maybe his finisher can just be like some mad combination and then like knocks the guy out or something.
Yeah. Because I thought when you said about a follow up to the gut punch, it would have been punch to the gut, the person goes down, and then it sets him up to bang in the face.
Knockout punch, yeah.
Like that. That for me would, and then 1, 2, 3. That for me would do it, or even the referee stoppage from that would have done it as well. But yeah, I mean, it's great to see him. I'm loving, and it took me a while to notice, but I'm loving the graphics on his shorts. He's got like the Olympic rings, but it said Ogogo.
Okay, I didn't notice that. I saw the rings, and that's it.
As a man that does graphic design and branding, bro,
it would work actually. OG. Yeah.
I was like, oh snap. Okay. So yeah, man. I'm intrigued to see what they do with him. Always have been from the second he, became a part of AEW. I've always been intrigued to see how they package him and what they're going to do with him. And I think they're on the right tracks. Definitely on the right tracks, and that's a good thing. Moving on to the ladies who had another amazing match, but finally just them two is Red Velvet and Jade Cargill. I guess as we expected, Jade won the match. Red Velvet more or less carried the match, but Jade still had to turn up, and she did what she needed to do. Do you think this match was better with just them two, or was it better as a match?
I don't know about better. Like obviously the Shaq and Cody factor of that match made it more kind of must see, and I guess brought some more excitement around it.
I guess so.
But these guys' feud has been has obviously been building now. It's been pretty interesting. I love the fact how it started as a scrap from the beginning. Red Velvet is on crud, like taking her out early, a bit of fighting around the ring area. It shows that this is obviously quite personal. And then it got back into the ring, slowed down a bit, and it got into more of the wrestling related stuff. I think Jade with the glam slam, her move, Jaded. It just looks good. Like it just looks like a great finish. Like absolutely every time. I think I want to see more of them. I wouldn't mind seeing Jade Cargill as part of the factory. It kind of makes sense as a first woman as well. Like I know she has quite strong ties to Dustin, who is actually up against QT Marshall. But I feel like her and Anthony Ogogo as a front two sort of thing would be very, very interesting.
Strong.
Yeah.
Strong. I think it would work. I probably would have said Team Taz, but with the way Team Taz is at the moment, it's kind of like
that's a losing faction, bro.
Yeah, let's just disband. Let Ricky Starks do his thing on his own. Because this whole not quite sure what Ricky's doing, not quite sure what Brian Cage is doing type of thing is a little bit weird, and still trying to recruit Christian Cage. I just don't.
Any match that means something, Team Taz lose it. Yeah, Will Hobbs absolutely battered Christian last week, but he's gonna lose to Christian tomorrow.
Yeah,
like
unless by some level of distraction, disqualification, or cheating. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just don't get what's going on with wrestling right now, bro, because I'm looking across the whole spectrum of wrestling right now. Not even just with our black stars, bro, but just in general. And I'm just like, there's nothing right now that's exciting me. There's nothing that's keeping me, pinned to the seat, having to find out what happened. And, apart from my journalistic duties. You know what I mean? My self-proclaimed journalistic duties as well. Literally. I'm not getting paid for this. Yeah. There's nothing that makes me think. Wakes up in the morning like, oh, I gotta see what happened last night.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, we had Mike Tyson as well, who was on AEW. Now kind of like an honorary member or member of Inner Circle. Even that is kind of like, what is it? I don't get why. I don't know what was the point.
To boost the ratings. Obviously, when they first brought him in, the week they brought him in, they were up against TakeOver.
Yeah, correct.
So I guess it's to boost the ratings. And then obviously last week is the first week NXT wasn't on the same night as AEW. So that works as another ratings boost. Obviously, AEW pulled it out the bag with the ratings that they got.
I think it was just over 1 million for the first time.
1.2 million. I think the first time since the first show.
Yeah. Correct.
So that alone is edging right close to Raw numbers right now.
It is. So
that says a lot. So
it does.
Yeah. Obviously, it won't be like that every week, but if they're doing at least over 1 million every week, then
even just touching, even going past like the 0.8, 0.9 mark is a win on its own. I can't remember what the numbers were when it was NXT and AEW, but I think it was probably around the 0.6, 0.7 mark.
Yeah, more time they were winning AEW,
and they were winning more weeks.
700,000, 800,000.
Yeah.
And NXT around the 600,000 mark.
Yeah. So for them to be touching that 1 million is amazing. To be around those numbers is amazing for them, and that's a good thing, of course. But at the same time, I'm still looking at it like it almost feels like that's only happening simply because that's the only show that's on Wednesday.
Yeah, well,
the show's amazing.
Confirmed it is. Like, I think from what I got from the figures, it shows about half the people that watch AEW tuned in for NXT because NXT's numbers went up as well.
Yep, correct.
And it seemed like everyone that tuned into NXT tuned in for AEW.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it, it's what they wanted. It's what they waited for. I'm glad that NXT. I'm just glad they're both on different days and not at the same time. Even if one was an hour before the other one, like something like that.
Yeah,
happy, whatever.
And then Impact moved to Thursdays.
Impact moves to Thursday as well. So, like, mate, they're working us every single day now.
Literally.
Basically. You know what I mean? And that's cool. That's cool. And again, you know, it just works for the fans. At the end of the day, it works for the fans. And it you know, it now means we've got wrestling Monday to Friday on TV. Yeah. Well, the Americans do. We just have to find it somewhere. we just log on to those certain sites you're not allowed to log on to and watch it. Exactly. Someone streams it from India or wherever it is. I didn't say that, by the way. I didn't say that. But yeah, Monday to Friday wrestling. Can't complain. There's always something going on. But as I said, you know, earlier in the show, it's like, you know, it's happening, but right now,
what's really happening?
Very little to get excited about. I mean, what else have we got on this list, bro?
I mean, before we look at what else we got to cover, I just think the whole WrestleMania backlash thing just put a knife through my heart, because it's just like, you've basically just said you're giving us a pay-per-view of WrestleMania rematches.
Yeah. Simple.
That's boring in itself. Nothing to look forward to. And they had actually scheduled Money in the Bank to be in May and not this WrestleMania stuff. And I don't know why this last minute switch happened, but it did. And then AEW, as good as I find the week to week shows, I feel like the pay-per-views are a bit too far, few in between. You're waiting for a long time before the story culminates.
Right.
I understand why they're not having monthly pay-per-views, and
that's fine.
I don't necessarily want monthly pay-per-views.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I do think they need maybe at least every 2 months or something like that.
What is it now? Every 4 months, or is it every 3?
Well, it's like every 3 to 4. Really, we have
when they decide.
Yeah, basically, it's when they decide. That's it. But
that's and I completely understand being different and not doing a monthly thing. That's fine. It does hurt WWE to do that sometimes. It's not the greatest thing for them to do, so I understand moving away from it. But as you said, you know, it then means that you're longing out certain storylines, and unless you are booking it correctly week to week, it puts a pressure on your head to make sure you do something week to week. Yeah. What they should then do is allow Dynamite to be, you know, the place where certain things culminate, even the big storylines and stuff like that. Not this, like, for example, in AEW with Kenny and Moxley and everyone else surrounding it, and all the other former Bullet Club members that just turn up and decide to change their mind every week. You know, you get the same, what is it? 6. So you're getting Moxley on one side, then you're getting Omega, the Young Bucks, and the Good Brothers, and they just switch in between, and you're seeing that, and you're just like, did I what is this deja vu? Did I actually watch this last week? Are they putting on a repeat or highlights from the week before, or is it something new? You know what I mean? I'm liking the possibilities and, you know, the things that can happen with the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle. But again, already that feels repetitive because you just had 2 brawls with both teams, and that's not the greatest. Again,
the only thing to look forward to there is the Blood and Guts match.
Yeah, which is coming up. Yeah, which is coming up in however many weeks.
2 weeks, I think.
Yeah. Bro, I just don't know. I'm just like, that's what
it's a lull. It's a lull period right now. We've had WrestleMania, we've had Revolution, which I guess is probably their big show for the year. So we're just kind of coasting right now into maybe Money in the Bank interest to pick up, maybe SummerSlam, who knows? But yeah, it's not a lot is happening right now.
Yeah, a lot of stuff is kind of like, as you know, it just feels as though things are being done literally week by week. And as you say, very much with what happens with Vince almost every week is he'll turn up, see whatever, and rip it up and start again literally an hour or so before. It just feels as though everything is like that right now. In wrestling in general, you look across the spectrum from, you know, WWE, AEW, Impact, and it's just... I mean, come on. What is this Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page thing?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea what this is. Like, I remember they cut a promo maybe about 2 weeks ago now where they were doing this side by side thing, and then at the end of the promo, you saw they were actually sitting together. Now they've been up in the stands watching, I think, what Darby Allin's been doing, stuff around Lance Archer as well. This isn't what anyone signed up for. Like, we saw Scorpio Sky just appear before Revolution, got our hearts, racing and excited to see him again, and he wins this ladder match, doesn't win the actual TNT Championship, turns heel, and then since then he's been up in the stands. We saw Ethan Page make his debut at Revolution
in the same match.
On the same match, made he won a match on Dynamite the following week. And we haven't seen him in the ring since. He's been up in the stands next to Scorpio Sky now for the past 2 weeks. I don't want to see these two as a tag team. That's for sure. I'm not invested at all in Ethan Page. I'm losing my patience with Scorpio Sky. This is beginning to look very WWE, aka directionless. Right.
Completely. As you said, we had Scorpio Sky, and he kind of came out of nowhere, cut a promo, went into that match, Face of the Revolution ladder match for the Sonic Ring, picked that up, great. He's gonna go for the chance to beat Darby Allin. We're thinking, he might win because Darby Allin's just been beat up a few nights before and in a street fight and blah blah blah. No. He loses clean again, then turns heel, and then we don't see him for like about 4 weeks.
Yeah.
All the while, Lance Archer's putting himself out there to face the TNT champion. Sting is coming out and just talking just for almost the sake of talking. And no mention of Scorpio Sky. Brian Cage turns up and does some randomness. And then, as you said, we've now seen randomly Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page together. Where did that happen? How did that happen? Yeah, you've got the one little connection of them being in that same match and also feeling as though they're being overlooked. The usual same old. But you're then not giving us a reason to be invested in them because their matches have been on Dark and on Elevation.
Yeah, they've been tagging. Yeah.
They've been tagging, bro. Both of them want the same thing. How are they tagging for one? Two,
exactly.
How are they not in the TNT, not in the picture?
Yeah.
As singular competitors, which should be what's happening.
It's just like we're saying, there's just it doesn't seem to be much direction. They're doing this in the stands thing, I guess, to keep them relevant, put them on TV. I think more than ever, especially with maybe now getting the confidence of the rating boost that they got, they need to push for the beginning of this second TV show to get these guys. And it's not just these guys. There's more people that aren't really being used, aren't really being featured. Get them on TV and use them. Like, we are right now struggling to get everyone on their shows. AEW have a lot of people and can't get them all on the show. And WWE have too many people, loads of hours, and still can't find a way to get them all on the show. So, yeah, the Scorpio Sky Ethan Page thing, I'm not invested in at all.
No. Not in the slightest, bro. Not in the slightest. And it's a shame. Obviously, we know, I'm a massive Scorpio Sky fan, but it's like, I'm just upset. Like, I don't understand. I just don't get it. And even going back to WWE, and we mentioned there are certain people that have not turned up, and we haven't seen them since Mania or even before Mania. Reginald is another one.
Yeah,
he was doing good stuff, entertaining stuff. Again, just completely disappeared. I just don't understand what anyone's direction. If anyone even knows, writers and whoever even knows what any direction is right now. this is the most depressing WrstlXtra we've ever done, bro. Because I'm just like, what is going on?
Yeah, nothing is the answer. Nothing is really happening.
Yeah.
Like you said, Reginald, another person that was featured all the way up to WrestleMania, to the point where fans were saying, he's interfering with the women's picture. He's making it worse, this, that, and the other, despite how entertaining and stuff he was. Then all of a sudden, he's just gone from TV. Now, if you want to remove him from the women's picture, title pictures and stuff like that, and his pairing with Nia Jax, fair enough. But it's like, justify, tell us why. Where's he gone?
Exactly.
See what I mean? Like, Angel Garza mentioned him on Raw this week. What do you see? To Nia Jax said, what do you see in that guy? And it's like, oh yeah, where is Reginald? Like,
right. Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah, it's just weird the way things are happening.
Yeah. A lot of weird stuff. I guess one thing I can pull on has been some of the stuff on NXT. We're seeing MSK retain their NXT championship. We saw a very entertaining match. It was an 8-person mixed tag match with all the 4 members of The Way, and then Ember Moon, Shotzi Blackheart, Bronson Reed, and what's his name again? Dexter Lumis. That's the one. Great, 2 good matches, stuff happening. The one thing for me that has been really entertaining is Isaiah Swerve Scott and Leon Ruff. That is one thing I can look at and be like, yeah, I want to see this carry on. Obviously, the whole story has been, Swerve attacked Ruff, and I guess the same old wrestling storyline of I feel overlooked, and why is he getting a chance when I'm the one who's done this and done that? And I was second in the he was second in the gauntlet match that they had on Stand and Deliver the first night. And Leon Ruff got his own back. So as much as Leon Ruff lost the match, another great entertaining match and interaction between them two. I could watch them two wrestle all day long. It was so good. But Leon Ruff attacked Swerve after the match.
Yeah.
And he, with his small, skinny self, was like, this is not over.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just excited to see, like, I guess a more aggressive Ruff, to see what he does with that, and to now see how Swerve reacts and where it goes and where it takes them to. I think both of them, we had Ruff used to be the North American champion.
Yeah.
Obviously, since he lost that, he's kind of just been coasting, I guess, just there. And Swerve, again, has kind of not really done much. I'm hoping that whoever comes out on top of that feud gets a chance at least the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's what we're building to. Speaking of the Cruiserweight Championship, a little bit of a weird turn in terms of Kushida winning. I don't mind Kushida being a champion, but it just happened a little bit.
I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy.
Like, that was a little.
Escobar is my guy.
He's
Escobar is
phenomenal, bro.
And like when he done the open challenge, the minute Kushida came out, I just said he's losing, because obviously Pete Dunne beat him at TakeOver, beat Kushida at TakeOver.
Right.
And I just thought, okay, that keeps Pete Dunne strong, but where are we going with Kushida? And the minute he came out for that Cruiserweight Championship match, I said, Escobar, bro, you are doomed. They are pinning you today. I just knew it, and I was as much as I knew it, then I'm just watching the whole match depressed, and it happened. And I like Kushida, but not at the expense of Escobar, because I like Escobar.
Right.
Yeah, not how it happened. Yeah, maybe it should have been a more of an elongated feud, but maybe Kushida can just kind of do what would be interesting, I think, for him, because I guess with the language barrier, he can't do much in terms of feuds and promos and stuff. But, putting on back-to-back Cruiserweight Championship Open Challenge matches would be really good to kind of build him up. And that's what, like you said, we can see Swerve, we can see Ruff enter that, and a load of other guys. So I think
really of course. Let's try our best right now to choose our stars of the week. It is a very interesting one. It is very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. I guess for me, you know, we just touched on them. For me, it would be Leon Ruff. Only because him then attacking Swerve after the match, after losing the match very cleanly as well. You know, he's still, as the face, still attacked Swerve and, you know, wants to carry on this feud and wants to kind of, I guess, prove himself that he can stand up with the best of them and stuff like that. So I guess for me, that is the one thing that stood out. That's the one thing that had me excited for what happened this past 7 days in the world of wrestling. So I guess for me, just about Leon Ruff is my star of the week. I don't know where it goes. I don't know what's going to happen here. There's nothing to say that it will turn into something more, but that's the hope, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally into everything that Swerve and Ruff are doing, and it's yeah, you would like there to be maybe a championship involved somewhere along the line, maybe, but yeah, for Swerve, in fact, I'm still, remember I said I don't get his character.
Yep.
And I still don't get it, because you get those vignettes of him in the studio, and then he comes up to the ring, and I think it's what he's wearing. I think it's this long coat that's just throwing me off, and I'm just thinking,
right.
Who do you represent? Like, what are you? But in terms of in ring, he's doing the business. He's absolutely doing the business.
Of course. We're getting to see the guy that we wanted to see from the start, I guess.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool. So Leon Ruff. I think I'm going to choose my Nigerian brother, Apollo Crews.
Okay.
Didn't do much on SmackDown last week. He had a promo where he introduced Commander Aziz.
Commander Aziz. I thought it was General. It's now Commander. Excuse me. Sorry.
He said he was an ex-member of the Nigerian military or something like that.
Yeah. Defense League or something like that.
Yeah. Something like that. And obviously he said, you know, now he's gonna he showed his Nigerian nail. He said some kind of interesting promo which popped me at the time.
And did his little laugh.
Yeah, and did the little laugh. So I want to see more. Obviously, like we said, we don't know where Big E is. Big E hasn't shown up. I guess he's been one show since Mania for the SmackDown guys, but he never showed up. So it'll be interesting to see now with this ace up his sleeve in Commander Aziz, this little run he can go on. You know, with the Intercontinental Championship. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm hoping it works out. As much as I make the joke very often of his Wakandan accent, not necessarily a Nigerian one. You know, we've said it so many times. Everything else about Apollo right now is correct.
Yeah,
everything. Take away that crazy stuff. Take away the accent. Everything else about Apollo is correct. Adding Aziz to it helps massively. In terms of the whole heel character, the whole heel persona, it gives you hope that he can hold on to that Intercontinental Championship for a little longer. And it's going to be interesting to see whether it's going to be Big E that comes straight back for him, or someone else is going to enter the picture in some way, and who that's going to be, how that's going to work. I think if it was Big E again, Big E would have to lose. And it would have to be over. I don't want to see another 3 matches between the two of them. Even with Aziz now in the picture and him causing, you know, disqualifications and distractions and all that kind of stuff. I just don't want to see that. And as much as I never really wanted E to lose the championship, I don't want him to regain it within, like, you know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, or at the next pay-per-view.
I don't think that'll be the case. I do think there may be something like, in my opinion, the next 2 Intercontinental champions is either Cesaro or Big E. I think Cesaro is going to have his chance at Roman, not win, come down to the next belt, which is the Intercontinental. And
okay.
Or I think Apollo's going to go on a bit of a little run with this for a couple months, I would say. And then Big E is going to maybe return. If he's going to stay off TV for a bit, then he'll return and beat Apollo at the first opportunity.
And that would work. That would work for me. Yeah. Not Big E turns up on Friday and then.
If they do that, Apollo's done. He's done.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's what I don't want to see that. Or if it does happen like that, Biggie would lose, and then he's just done with
with Apollo. Yeah.
100%. You'd have to just be done with it, and allow Apollo to go on his run. Even with Cesaro, I mean, obviously we mainly focus on our black stars, but even that whole thing with Cesaro and Roman was amazing, bro. Roman was just like, and just walked past it. Oh my word,
oh my heart bled.
Oh man.
Man got into the ring, stared him down, went over to get a microphone, and Roman basically said, I'm not waiting around to hear what you have to say. I don't care.
Walked up, bro.
Yeah, the disrespect was too much, bro.
Wow.
I never had to watch the rest of SmackDown. I would have turned off my TV and went and mourned.
Wow, bro. That was amazing. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that. Ever.
And the thing is, even when people walk away, they might walk halfway up the entranceway and stop, or the person will in the ring, Cesaro, will cut his promo regardless.
Right.
Everything just stopped.
Stop, bro.
Everything just came to an
Man
end.
just walked, and even Paul Heyman was like,
literally everything came to an end.
Crazy. I loved it. Yeah. Roman just continues to be the number one guy in the company, just doing stuff that even just 2 years ago we'd be like, nah, they're not going to allow him to do that. They're not going to allow him to be a heel and all that kind of stuff and whatnot. So, I'm excited. I'm hoping to see Cesaro, Roman. I'm hoping that's a thing. Seth Rollins will jump in the picture because he already kind of like, why is Cesaro, leapfrogging me to the championship and all that kind of stuff. So anything between those three is expected to be very entertaining. It should be very, very interesting. Boy, whoa. We've now, you know what? Listen, we've got 4 minutes left. Bro, I'm done.
we have crawled to the finish line.
It's been a very depressing episode today. It's very, very depressing. Very little to talk. I mean, a lot to mention, but very little to have a conversation about. We're saying the same things. We're just kind of like just bemused as to what is happening with wrestling right now. It's just weird. It's just weird. One little thing actually I did see to mention very quickly. A promotion we don't talk about often at all. Have just signed a big TV deal. So that's Major League Wrestling have signed a TV deal with Vice TV. Vice TV have kind of by now quite known for, being, I guess, fans of wrestling. They've shown, like the documentary stuff and, the truth about wrestling and stuff like that. It's a bit of a big deal. I can't remember all the ins and outs and the details of it, but for me, it's great for Major League Wrestling. So much promise on that show. I remember seeing someone, I think it was the Wrestling Republic, posted about the news, and someone in their comments said how, when you think about it, Major League Wrestling is probably a better alternative to WWE than AEW is. And when I stop and think, and I've seen some of the stuff, I'm like, it really is. It really is. Some of the stuff that they do, the storylines, the wrestlers, the opportunities they're giving certain wrestlers, even our own black stars, guys like Zen Shi, Leo Rush, Calvin Tankman, Myron Reed, Jordan Oliver, and so many others. ACH has been on there quite often as well. There's so many guys that we can talk about and be excited about. So to see them getting this opportunity, I'm hoping it turns into something, excuse the pun, something major. It came into my head when I just thought
Tankman and Myron Reed. Tankman and Myron Reed are stars, like
absolutely amazing, bro.
Those two are stars, and they're gonna go places. And like you said, this is it's a better alternative because this is where AEW said they're more sports orientated. This is actually
Major League Wrestling is all about that, bro. It really is because they focus a lot as well on like MMA stars and that kind of that kind of coalition between those two different genres, I guess, of sport, of combat sports. So it's going to be interesting to see how much it does boost either their ratings or the awareness of Major League Wrestling. On that note, folks,
I've been tuned in. Sorry,
go on.
I've been tuned into Major League Wrestling since Jacob Fatu was champion, and the guy is just absolutely brilliant. At first I thought obviously he's Samoan Dynasty. I thought this guy's giving me Umaga vibes.
Yep,
but
Umaga Part 2. Yep.
He is brilliant. Like, I absolutely love this guy. I would like to, you know, if he's going to be the guy at the front to kind of usher in this new TV deal and stuff, then brilliant. But eventually this guy needs to go to the big time.
He does. I'm hoping he'll, like you said, they'll use him to elevate the promotion and stuff. And I think it's he's a absolutely amazing person to do that with. But eventually he needs to move on. Use MLW as a stepping stone, but not in the negative sense. Not in the negative sense at all. Do whatever he can to boost the ratings of that promotion and then move on. But as we said, you know, we've got Myron Reed, we've got Calvin Tankman, and so many other wrestlers in that group that could then be the man for that promotion. Folks, on that note, make sure you find MLW however you can. They're all over Twitter and Instagram, very active as well on their social medias, which is great. So check them out. Also, of course, you can check us out on Instagram and on Twitter. You can see Mex on Twitter and Instagram, WrestleManiac.uk on Instagram, WrestleManiac UK on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram, Black Wrestling Alliance. Of course, I'm sure you follow me already. If you're not, please do not tune in again. I'm joking. Tune in. You have been watching on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe, click that notification button, and catch us every single week on a Tuesday, whatever time it is in your time zone. Just work it out, please. And of course, you are listening on AffinityExtra.com. You can catch us on a Thursday at 12 midday UK time. Again, work it out wherever your time zone is, because it's too much headache for me. It's now 7:30 in the evening, and I'm hungry, and I've got to go. And it's been a depressing show, but whatever, we keep it moving. Folks, thank you for joining us, those that did, and thank you for listening and watching, and we will see you again next week.
See you later, guys.